So what really happened at UFC on Fox 24, Rose Namajunas versus Michelle Waterson? So starting off the fight, Rose Namajunas pressures and goes forward against Michelle Waterson, and Rose is in an orthodox stance and Michelle Waterson is in a southpaw stance. But Michelle Waterson isn't a left-handed fighter. She's a right-handed fighter, a right-legged fighter. The reason why she stays in southpaw is because she can use that lead sidekick. She uses it often. She uses it to stop opponents from pressuring her, stop opponents from coming at her by kicking the legs, kicking the body, sometimes kicking the head, and she also uses it as a counter. And that's one of her main weapons. You could see in the beginning of the fight, Rose Namajunas is pressuring Michelle Waterson, and you see Rose's wide stance. She keeps a lot of her weight on her back foot. The reason why Rose puts her weight on her back foot initially is so she can spring in really quickly. She can explode off the back foot. What she usually does afterward is she will switch the balance into her front leg afterward so she can bounce back. That's how she moves in and out. And right away, Michelle Waterson is backing up, and to stop the pressure, she goes and she starts throwing that front side kick to the leg. You can see it here. Look at Rose when she's moving in and out. She's bouncing off her feet, switching the balance in her feet, switching the weight. And this is throwing Michelle Waterson a little bit off with her kick because she's trying to catch Rose as she's coming in when she springs in. But Rose is moving in and out, causing Michelle Waterson to miss her sidekick to the leg. Also, notice how Michelle Waterson throws that sidekick to the leg. She doesn't attempt it like many other fighters in UFC, such as Conor McGregor, where they will throw the sidekick to the leg and they'll kind of use it to bounce back. They would use it to rebound. What she does, she tries to go through. She tries to really damage your knee and try to make you go backwards. She sits on it very hard, almost in a way where she's stomping on the knee sideways. This front leg sidekick is really the main defense of Michelle Waterson. She uses this more so than any kind of movement, any kind of head movement, any kind of footwork. If you can get past that front lead sidekick, if you can get past that line of defense, there's not much she's doing to defend herself. And you'll see that later in the fight. Also, notice Michelle Waterson's stance. Very karate style. A complete sideways stance. Now watch here. 4 minutes and 25 seconds left of the first round. Rose Namajunas is starting to stalk Michelle Waterson. And Michelle Waterson uses this opportunity to, again, throw that lead sidekick to the leg. And she catches Rose. This makes Rose step back really quickly. And Michelle Waterson anticipates and knows that Rose is going to rebound. And she's going to come forward. That's what happens. Rose attempts to come forward, which allows Michelle Waterson to, again, throw the front lead sidekick, but she throws it high this time. And she catches Rose Namajunas very clean. Completely caught Rose Namajunas off guard. But Rose Namajunas eats it, doesn't even go backwards from it. She pressures Michelle Waterson because Michelle Waterson is on one foot. And the only way Michelle Waterson is going to go now is backwards. Rose gets really aggressive, comes forward and throws a right overhand. Michelle Waterson sees this coming. She ducks under the overhand and clinches up with Rose really quickly. Michelle grabs a head and arm, and she steps forward with her right leg in front of Rose Namajunas. Look at the hips. Michelle gets her hips in front of Rose's and actually passed it. So this is a clear opportunity for Michelle to get the head and arm throw, the hip throw, and that's what she does. But as they hit the ground, Rose is so flexible and so long, she's able to wrap her left leg around Michelle and get that hook in. This is a very dangerous kind of takedown in MMA because of this situation. When you're fighting an opponent who's long, has elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and is very flexible like Rose is, you have to be aware of this kind of thing happening. The only thing holding Rose Namajunas down from getting to a potential back take is, of course, Michelle Waterson still has the head of Rose, and she's leaning on her. Well, Waterson, what she's doing is she's trying to get a better grip because Rose's arm is in between them. Her right arm is in between them, and it's causing Michelle Waterson to lose her grip constantly. As she's trying to get her grip, Rose, with her left arm, goes on the inside and grabs onto Michelle Waterson's left arm. So now Michelle Waterson doesn't have that much of a grip. Now Rose has some control in the position on the hand fighting. She's controlling Michelle Waterson's left arm. Now what Rose does is she explodes with her right foot, explodes off the ground, and moves to the left. She explodes to the left and she still has her left hook in. She also pulls on Michelle Waterson's left arm that she's controlling and pulls it to the left. She's trying to move Michelle Waterson to the left. She's pulling with the hook and she's pulling with her arm to the left. What this is doing is it's creating an opening on the right hip of Michelle Waterson, because Michelle Waterson's right hip was on the ground, so there was no way of getting that hook in for Rose. She's creating that opening, and Michelle Waterson has to post on her left arm. Her right arm is still around Rose Namajunas' head. Rose uses this opportunity to get the right hook in, and notice what Michelle tries to do. She tries to rebound and get the head and arm again. But Rose, really quickly, she's always one step ahead. She grabs onto Michelle's left arm really quickly, again, controlling her left arm. She then pulls her head out, and she has the back now. Very well done by Rose Namajunas. Always one step ahead. Now watch here, 1 minute and 20 seconds left of the first round. Michelle goes for an armbar and uses the cage. So with her right leg, she's kicking off the cage to get into an armbar position. Look how composed Rose Namajunas is. Instead of panicking and trying to pull out, which gets a lot of fighters in that armbar, she simply, with her right knee, steps onto Michelle Waterson's left leg, completely preventing the armbar. Now we move on to 47 seconds left of the first round. Again, they're in the same kind of stance that they usually take. Michelle is waiting for Rose. Rose goes, shifts her hips, and raises her right leg, just slightly. And Michelle sees this to counter with, again, the front leg side kick to the leg. And this catches Rose really good. It gets her completely off balance. Then Michelle Waterson steps on the inside and throws the left hand. Rose's response to this is to counter her with the right overhand. So she ducks to the left. Michelle Waterson then leans to the left and tries to throw her own right overhand. Almost at the same time, they both miss. Rose then, being the quicker fighter, turns and pulls on Michelle Waterson's shoulder with her right arm. And Rose Namajunas is controlling Michelle Waterson's left arm with her own left arm. She's gripping the wrist of Michelle Waterson, completely preventing Michelle Waterson from putting any kind of counterattack, any kind of offense, and she's controlling Michelle completely, causing Michelle Waterson to turn to the right and move forward with her body. Michelle Waterson is trying to move away sideways instead of trying to face Rose Namajunas. And look here, Michelle Waterson is not looking at Rose Namajunas, and she's trying to reach for Rose's right arm because I think she's anticipating the right hand to come, which it does. Rose Namajunas goes and throws the right hand and barely catches Michelle Waterson. This is very important here because you'll see something very similar happen in the second round. You see here again, Michelle Waterson goes and throws the front leg side kick to the leg again, as Rose was attempting to throw a right leg kick, catching Rose very hard again. This kind of technique is very effective, and a lot of fighters are not utilizing it. Very similar to punches, where straight punchers will usually beat winging wide punches because they have a shorter target and they're coming on the inside, so you can actually block with the punches. It's very similar with kicks also. Straight kicks are most of the time going to beat round kicks because of very similar reasons. They're coming straight, they're on the inside, and they're faster to get to the target. Michelle Waterson uses this very well. Here we go into the second round. Notice the movement of Rose. As we all know, Rose is very agile, very athletic with her movement. The movement and the footwork of these two fighters are so different. Rose is very light on her feet at all times. And Michelle Waterson is a plodding fighter, plodding karate style. Now we get into the head kick scenario. Michelle Waterson moves forward really quickly and throws a right hook. Rose Namajunas, using her long reach, keeps her left hand forward to keep Michelle Waterson at a distance, while she also blocks the right hook using her right hand. The punch just barely lands, and Rose Namajunas is also moving backwards. So there's real no impact in this punch. Michelle Waterson then tries to follow it up with, it looks like another front leg side kick. But this is an example of why you don't think too much in a fight. You let your body react. She lifts her leg up as if she was going to throw it. But I believe she thinks that she's too close for this kick. So she puts it back down. She retracts the kick. Rose gets a little bit alerted from it. She sees, okay, she might be throwing a kick. So Rose is going to throw a left hook, but she stops it. Now Michelle Waterson is again thinking to throw the kick again. She's thinking too much here. She keeps thinking about throwing the front leg side kick. It's causing a big target on her. It causes big openings, and it's making her react slower. But Rose has clear targets on her now. Rose then goes and throws a right hook, and Michelle is on one foot. So this is very bad for Michelle Waterson. Now Michelle Waterson puts her leg down. Notice the stance of Michelle Waterson. Her back is almost completely facing Rose Namajunas. Her right leg is crossing her left leg. This is a terrible situation for her. Rose goes and grabs onto Michelle Waterson's right arm with her own right arm, preventing Michelle Waterson from getting away because now Michelle is trying to move away from her. But remember, Rose has a big reach advantage over Michelle Waterson, so she's going to have to move very far out to not get hit by her. Michelle Waterson's moving back, Rose Namajunas is moving forward. Michelle has no line of sight on Rose. She does not see anything coming, and Rose has a clear target for the head kick. Lands clean. I almost thought that this would have ended the fight, but Michelle survives. She shows her toughness. She's extremely tough. Michelle is probably concussed right here. She tries to get up. Michelle's using the cage to get up, and she's leaving her back exposed to Rose again. What Rose does, she's trying to wrap her arm around Michelle's neck before she gets the hooks in. Then Michelle tries to sit against the cage. She puts her back against the cage, but notice Rose's flexibility and the way she gets this back take. She keeps her right leg in front of Michelle Waterson and in between her legs. She has her arms around Michelle Waterson's neck, or attempting to. Simultaneously, she's also wrapping her left leg around Michelle's back because Michelle is leaning forward. She gets her leg completely around Michelle Waterson's back in between the cage. This is very difficult to do. This also causes Rose to trap Michelle Waterson's right arm with her right leg. Rose goes and tries to sink in the rear naked choke from here. Rose didn't completely take Michelle's back. Rose is almost on Michelle's side. You can see how strong Rose's legs are, how strong her grip is when she has the back take. She's holding herself up very well here, and she has the choke in. She's hooking her left leg onto Michelle's left leg, and she's holding herself up like this. Michelle falls down, and it allows Rose to take Michelle's back. Then you see Rose is contorting, putting a lot of pressure on Michelle's spine. Look how bent backwards Michelle is. And she has the choke completely in. Michelle's not getting out of this, and she sees it and she taps out. That's the breakdown, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. Most of you are requesting this fight for me to break down. I might break down another fight from last week's card because it was such a good card. A lot of good fights. So I might break down another one sometime this week, maybe later this week. And I'm going to put out a predictions video for UFC's card next week. So be on the lookout for those videos. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.